I will never forget the moment I fell in love with Tanzania for the first time. Night was falling. Beyond our campground lay 100 miles of unbroken African wilderness. No lights or noise, concrete or pollution. Just a glowing campfire and a harmony with nature that many of us lost a long time ago. Then, like a strike of lightning, a rumble echoes across the bush, and my heart skips a beat. Hold up, let's rewind a few days. This story begins in Moshi, a small town in northern Tanzania, nestled in the shadow of Mount Kilimanjaro. After a long day on the road, I couldn't be more excited to see my hotel. With a nice pool and a cozy rooftop to watch the sunset, this will make a great base to recharge and gear up for the journey ahead. Hi, I'm Brendan, and I'm part of the team here at Follow Alice. For those who are new to our channel, or follow Alice more generally, we're an adventure travel company on a mission to connect adventurers like you with many of the world's most breathtaking trips and destinations. We use our YouTube channel as a platform to educate, support, and inspire our community. This time, leading me on safari into the vast, untamed plains of the Serengeti and northern Tanzania, before eventually continuing into neighbouring Uganda in search of wild mountain gorillas in the upcoming part 2 of this East Africa video series. We spend our first day exploring the local sites around Moshi. We journey up into the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro to the Mataruni waterfall and into the valley of the Chaga tribe, one of over 120 ethnic groups here in Tanzania. After a 45-minute uphill drive, we strap on our boots and follow a dirt track cut into the rainforest, passing small farming villages sitting alongside fields of maize, yams and coffee. We pass local women selling a variety of bananas and eggplant, and young Chaga men slinging fermented banana beer from the edge of the trail. We even get to meet a little chameleon friend along the way, named Ringo.
He's so cute.
We spend the morning bathing under Mataruni Falls, a thundering 260-foot cascade of water fed by the glaciers and icy streams that flow down from the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro. And after working up an appetite, we make a stop for a jungle lunch, where we're served a feast of local dishes sourced and picked from the surrounding fields and rainforest. Banana stew infused with volcanic ash, goat curry, rice, beans, fresh fruits, and avocados the size of small coconut. You won't find fresher ingredients anywhere. I think we've all enjoyed the food a little too much, so before we pass out for a nap, we could all do with a pick-me-up. And I know just the thing. Coffee has been cultivated in this valley for centuries, and for the Chaga people, it's not just their economic lifeblood, but absolutely central to their customs and cultural identity. We roll up our sleeves and craft a fresh brew of coffee by hand, guided by local villagers using beans plucked right here from the surrounding farms. We hull, roast, grind, boil, and pour, from bean to cup, following the age-old traditional method of production, all with the help of some singing and dancing, of course. We're in Tanzania. What else did you expect? As I sit here sipping my coffee, I find myself reflecting. Although I've been in Tanzania for less than 24 hours, the kindness and purity of the local people here has already melted my heart. Their unbelievable warmth and soft manner, their willingness to help you, and how they always greet you with a smile. I am so impressed, and even quite humbled. And this would only grow stronger with each passing day and new encounter. Later that afternoon, we say farewell to Ruben, one of the many friendly faces here at Follow Alice HQ, and Mira, one of our Tanzania trip managers based here in Moshi. If you ever decide to travel with Follow Alice here in Tanzania one day, there's a good chance you'll get to meet them. In the evening, I spend my time reflecting on these first moments in Tanzania and thinking about what tomorrow will bring. Big things lay ahead of us. Today is the big day. We embark on our safari expedition. After some last-minute packing and a light breakfast, we are ready to hit the road. Greeting us outside with a big smile is Saleh, our safari guide here in Tanzania. It's often said that an adventure is made by the people you meet along the way. So I'd like to take a moment to quickly introduce you to the other faces that I'll be sharing this journey with. Tina is the kind, gentle soul of our group. She brings a calming presence that every big, bold adventure trip needs. But don't be fooled though. Behind those gentle eyes also lies a wild, fearless spirit. 10 years ago, she left her native home in Belgium to backpack solo across Africa and has never looked back. She's lived in Tanzania, worked as a dive master in Mozambique, and now calls Cape Town, South Africa home. There is nobody more passionate about Africa than Tina. And as one of our best loved sales consultants here at Follow Alice, it's her job to help our clients plan and craft the adventure of a lifetime. Next, Mel is the spark and passion that fuels our group. She loves to share joy and laughter with those around her, and might just be the clumsiest person I've ever met. Two things that often went hand in hand. As a natural leader, she's also the person you want by your side when things go wrong. Residing in Cape Town, but with roots in Zimbabwe, Mel heads up operations at Follow Alice, ensuring that our trips run smoothly, and she's a very big reason that we continue to receive so much love from our clients and community to this day. Then lastly, you have the unsung heroes of this whole experience, the guides and ground team in Tanzania who make this all possible, featuring Chris, Bobu, Ruben, and all the people who have helped us on our adventure so far. Leading our safari is Saleh. With over 25 years of guiding experience in the Serengeti in northern Tanzania, he knows these lands like the back of his hand. He's an absolute gentleman, ray of sunshine, and as time will tell, he would become a very close friend. As we hit the road and Mount Kilimanjaro comes into view for a final time, the magnitude of our adventure begins to sink in. Ahead of us lies a 5-day journey deep into one of the rawest, most untouched havens of wilderness on Earth. A voyage into the heart of the Serengeti and neighbouring Ngorongoro Crater and Tarangire National Parks. After 3 hours on the road, small villages and farmland begin to give way to wide open plains. And bulging baobab trees spring up along the roadside, a sign that we're nearing Tarangire National Park. Famous for its large elephant populations, cork tree forests, and towering baobabs, the park covers an area of approximately 1,100 square miles, making it one of the larger national parks here in Tanzania. As we enter the gates of the park, the tarmac ends and the road turns to stones and dust. This is my first time on safari, and having seen this landscape 10,000 times or more in documentaries and films, it's giving me butterflies finally being here in the flesh and blood. And then bingo! It only takes 15 minutes to spot a trail of elephants lumbering slowly across the grassy horizon. Within the next few hours, we spot giraffe, zebras, and the dark silhouette and piercing eyes of a leopard, shading in the canopy of an acacia tree. I know that a lot of you watching at home will also be interested in bringing a camera on safari, so I thought it could be useful to share 3 quick but highly important tips when it comes to photography and videography on safari. 1. The hard truth is that a smartphone or basic point and shoot will probably leave you disappointed. Wildlife does wander up close sometimes, but a good zoom or telephoto lens really is critical for capturing those intimate, up-close wildlife shots. Anything under a focal length of 200mm probably won't cut it. 2. If you do bring or rent a large telephoto lens, get yourself one of these bad boys. A camera beanbag is invaluable for stabilizing your shots and footage, Otherwise, you end up with an image like this. 3. Last but not least, do note that unless you have a permit, drones are strictly prohibited in the Tanzanian national parks. Permission is very complex and expensive to obtain, so for most people, they'll need to leave their drone at home on this occasion, unfortunately. With our adrenaline and spirits running high, we stop for food and rest after a few hours. Perched on a ridge overlooking the outstretched plains below, we sit down for a beautiful 3-course bush lunch. I'm a real foodie, so I'm unashamed to admit that this is always my favourite part of the day. Pumpkin soup, grilled meats, vegetables, and freshly squeezed juices.
Cheers.
It feels like we've wandered straight onto a movie set, and it really is absolutely gorgeous, and you could not mistake this scene for anywhere else in the world. With the late afternoon approaching, we leave Tarangire and make our way towards our accommodation for the night.
Tina, what was your highlight today?
Ooh, the leopards.
Oh yeah,
I really love the leopards.
leopard was quite special.
I have 2.
Oh,
Okay, the leopard, 100%. That was quite a nice surprise. And the bush lunch, I think it surpassed my expectations. That was really cool.
Kudu Lodge, a pretty hotel a stone's throw from the Ngorongoro Conservation Area, set amongst lush gardens with rustic, spacious rooms and a beautiful pool, where I take a refreshing evening dip under the fading light, marking the end of a wonderful first day on the road. Today, we will set our course for the Serengeti, a 120-mile drive deep into the heart of the national park. We clamber into our trusty Toyota Land Cruiser and ascend up into the misty cloud forest, passing troops of baboons and onto the Ngorongoro Crater rim. What could be mistaken for a giant meteor crater is in fact the hollowed out remains of an ancient volcano. It's estimated that the volcano was as tall as Mount Kilimanjaro, until a violent eruption and explosion left the 12-mile wide caldera that we see today.
Oh, this is the Ngorongoro Caldera. It's one of the biggest caldera with an unbreakable rim in the world. Yeah.
We will return in some days to venture down within the crater itself, but for now we press on towards the big open plains that lay just beyond. We wind our way through valleys scattered with Maasai villages, the native tribespeople of the region, and begin a descent down onto the plains of the Serengeti. In the local Maasai language, Serengeti means endless lands, and it's easy to see why. The camera does not even come close to painting the astonishing breadth and openness of this landscape. In some ways, there's something very harsh about this bone-dry, featureless horizon baking under an endless, bright sky. But there's a raw beauty and an immense sense of detachment from the rest of the world. At the midway point of our drive, we stop at Nabi Hill Gate for a break and a bite to eat. A common question we often receive is about the experience inside the safari vehicles themselves. For how long do you drive per day? Is it comfy? Are they air-conditioned? It depends on your itinerary, but you can typically expect to drive between 4 to 8 hours per day. Distances can be vast out here. The Serengeti alone is around the same size as Belgium. But be assured that rest stops and toilet breaks are offered throughout. Most safari vehicles fit 6 to 12 people, depending on the variant. They're designed especially for this rugged terrain, with excellent suspension, plush seats, plenty of legroom, and an observation hatch where you can stand to enjoy a 360-degree view of the outside. Some vehicles are even open-sided. The goal is to provide an immersive and open experience, so this means that most safari vehicles do not have air conditioning. Instead, you open the roof, roll down the windows, and enjoy the breeze, which works well. After a lunch stop, we soon reach an area marked by a series of stone outcrops known as kopi. We spot a lone bull elephant in a grassy swamp, a hyena, eagles, vultures, and scattered groups of wildebeest, antelope, and zebras. But one thing is missing, until now. Perched on the rocks is the unmistakable, sand-coloured, muscular body and shaggy mane of a lion. Further along, we come across a mating pair, the king and queen of Africa. We are so close, you can hear their breath, read their eyes, and catch their gaze. Only a sheet of metal and a pane of glass separates you from one of Earth's most ferocious predators. It's absolutely breathtaking. Later that afternoon, as the sun sinks towards the horizon, we begin making our way towards our camp. Along roads that seem to lead to nowhere, further and further away from civilization. Approaching 6 p.m, we reach our camp for the night.
Thank you. Asante sana.
A collection of 12 luxury tents pitched on an open grassy plain, completely off-grid and fully exposed to nature. The camp interiors are beautiful, with all the modern conveniences that you would never expect so far from home. Comfy communal areas to relax and unwind, large, beautiful rooms with modern ensuite bathrooms, and warm showers fed by rainwater and treated wells. You may wonder what the range of accommodation options are like in the Serengeti. Well, there's a great variety. Everything from budget-friendly public campsites with sleeping bags to luxury 5-star lodges costing thousands of dollars a night. There really is something for everyone. Here at Follow Alice, we like to hand-select camps and lodges that offer an excellent standard of comfort and service, but without wasting on unnecessary costs. Because of this open exposure to nature, at night time you must be escorted to and from your tent by a member of staff, and it's not uncommon to wake up to giraffes or elephants having breakfast on your porch. But this is what makes the Serengeti so special. We must get to bed early. Tomorrow morning we have a very early rise for something extremely special.
Let's do this. Woohoo! For someone who didn't sleep, I've got so much energy.
There are very few things worth waking up at 4 a.m. for, in my opinion. But today is that very rare exception.
So we good to go?
A dream of mine has always been to drift above the African savannah in a hot air balloon. And today my dream will come true. We're collected by Thomas, a driver from the hot air balloon company, and we venture out into the night, spotting game as we drive. A jackal scurrying into the grass, a rabbit darting across the road, a stream of wildebeest caught in the headlights. After an hour on the road, we reach the launch site and settle down with a hot cup of coffee and watch the sky slowly fill with early morning light. With the weather conditions perfect and all preparations made, we are taken to the launch site to be briefed by the flight team.
Super nervous, excited,
Moments later, the flame begins spitting and the fabric rustling and filling with air. Our pilot instructs us to move into our takeoff positions, an inverted sitting position, lying on our backs, tilted up to the sky. After a few more bursts of flame, I start to feel a lift under my feet. Slowly, we begin skidding along the ground, and then silence and weightlessness. We're airborne. And what a sight! In all its glory, the sun-kissed golden plains of the Serengeti stretch out below us. It's hard to describe moments of such wonder and joy, but my body is glowing.
My heart is racing, but it's such an incredible experience, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It's absolutely mind-blowing. It's one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life, really.
The flight is very gentle, a still feeling almost, like you're suspended motionless in the air, but within minutes we're more than 3,000 feet above the ground. As we lumber across the sky, we pass a small airstrip and cross above the iconic Serengeti River, where hippopotamus and Nile crocodile wallow in the muddy waters.
Oh, lions, here, on the right.
We spot a large pride of lions resting beside a creek and follow thousands of wildebeest and zebras storming across the plains. It's moments like these that live with you forever. After 1 hour and 15 minutes airborne, we begin to make our descent, scraping the tops of trees, gliding side by side with wildebeest and landing softly in a grassy field.
We made it! We made it! It was fantastic.
Still a little shaky with adrenaline, we toast a new day with a cheeky 7 a.m. glass of champagne. It's 5 p.m. somewhere, right? And later settle down for a tasty bush breakfast. Eggs, juice, bacon, fruits, surrounded by open wilderness. After breakfast, we're reunited with Saleh.
Hello.
And we continue our journey onwards towards Ndutu, spotting game along the way and absorbing the Serengeti for a final time. That night, we have dinner and tell stories beside a roaring campfire. And I fall deeply in love with Tanzania. As night draws in, the sound of nature comes alive, and I drift off listening to the distant calls of lions, hyenas, and the pitter-patter of small creatures on the roof of my tent. We have now officially passed the midway point of our safari. We will soon leave the wide open savanna behind us and journey in some of the most dramatic and rugged landscapes of our trip so far, exploring Ndutu, up into the Ngorongoro highlands and towards the Ngorongoro Crater. There is something so idyllic and pretty about this corner of the national parks. The meadows of wildflowers, the twisted thorn bushes and acacia trees, and the streaming blue waters of the Ndutu marshes. I think it's probably my favorite landscape so far. We drive for hours without spotting a single other vehicle or person. It's completely deserted, as if we have the whole park to ourselves. This is one of the benefits of traveling in the low season. It's April, the peak of the rainy season here. As you would expect, most travelers flock to the Serengeti and northern parks during the dry months, and during the infamous river crossings and calving seasons. And no doubt these are brilliant times to visit. We highly recommend traveling during these months. But for those willing to gamble a little on the weather, you could be rewarded handsomely with very low crowds, quiet lodges, and a sense of the park being all to yourself during the low season. Our advice is to research what matters to you and identify what it is exactly that you want to see. I personally love peace and solitude, and so far the weather gods have been good to us. No sooner had I spoken, soon after leaving Ndutu, we collide with our first patch of poor weather. The skies fill with dark grey clouds and heavy rain begins to pour, turning the dirt roads to mud. Thankfully, our trusty Toyota Land Cruiser pushes through. An hour later, we arrive at the Ndulini Valley, a stunning series of verdant hills and forests, and home to one of the largest population centres for the native Maasai people, a semi-nomadic tribe that has roamed the plains of Kenya and Tanzania for centuries, living in much the same way as they have for generations. They've become a lasting symbol of Africa's rich and ancient cultural heritage. Along the way, we make a quick lunch stop at Ngorongoro Tortillas camp, a hidden oasis set amongst the trees of an enchanting forest. Approaching 6 p.m, as the sun is beginning to set, we reach our lodge for the night. We spend the evening reading peacefully on the porch and recuperating before our early rise tomorrow morning. It dawns on me that tonight is our final night and that our adventure is coming to a close. But Mother Earth has saved the best for last. That evening, a powerful thunderstorm comes barreling in, flashing heavy rain and shooting streaks of lightning across the sky. We wake to a drastic change in the weather. The thunderstorms from last night have given way to thick, hanging fog. Our hearts sink. Today was meant to be the climax of the entire trip. A journey down into the world-famous Ngorongoro Crater for our last game drive, before heading onwards to the city of Arusha, back to civilization, and where our safari adventure ends. We venture out into the mist, almost blind, until we reach the Ngorongoro Crater lip. In a twist of fate, the fog clears and the skies open to reveal a paradise below. Rays of sunshine streak through the clouds, reflecting on shimmering lakes and ponds, and grey bands of rain drift across the horizon. We plunge down towards the crater floor. The ring of steep walls rising around us have created a perfect microcosm of animal and plant life. The Ngorongoro Crater is renowned worldwide for the astonishing density of wildlife that it holds. And in fact, it's one of the few remaining places in Africa where the Big Five live shoulder to shoulder today. At the center of the crater lies a soda lake, highly alkaline and saline, known for its large flamingo and bird populations that flank the water's edge. Woods, swamps, and grasslands make up the remainder, with moist cloud forests carpeting the steep sides. It's like a real-life Garden of Eden. When I think back to the start of this journey, one of the greatest surprises has been the constant evolution of the landscapes. Before coming to Tanzania, I pictured everything looking a little the same, if I'm honest with you. That classic savanna image we all have of golden grassy plains dotted with solitary acacia trees. And while that's a beautiful part of it, it's so much more. Witnessing the vegetation and geography constantly change has been one of the most enjoyable parts of this experience. We explore for several more hours, finding a pride of lions, being shadowed quietly by a pair of hyenas, maybe hoping to be led to food. We see our first snake, a huge python being harassed and pursued by a small gang of angry birds. And zebras, wildebeest, hippopotamus, elephants, and finally, on the last hour of the last day, rhinoceros. Easier seen with binoculars, but a defining moment on this adventure as it officially completes our Big Five checklist. I think this is a good moment to reflect on this mighty journey. When friends and family ask me what I loved most about this experience, this is what I tell them. 2 things. Number 1, nothing bonds people like adventure. Nothing. Safari especially is such an intimate shared experience. I will never forget the stories we told by the campfire, the peaks of euphoria we felt together, the growing sense of camaraderie. 5 days honestly felt like a lifetime. And to Saleh, I must give a special mention. We shed a tear saying goodbye to Saleh. And if you're watching this at home, we are eternally grateful for the colossal effort you put into making our trip so special. Secondly, this journey was not just about observing wildlife. It was about rediscovering a deeper connection to nature. Many of us live lives completely removed from the natural world. But I think it's really important to see this. It doesn't just build an appreciation for Mother Earth and the importance of safeguarding it, but I think in many ways, it reminds us of what it really means to be human. If you thought this ended here, this adventure just got started. Up next on this East Africa itinerary, we journey to Uganda. Itching for your own adventure? Start your journey with Follow Alice today. Every year, we take thousands of happy travelers to many of the world's most spectacular trips and destinations, and we're extremely proud of the wonderful feedback we continue to receive. Feel free to check out our website link in the description to take a peek at our departure dates and Tanzania safari itineraries. And if you require any assistance or have any questions, our friendly team are always on hand to support you. Tina, Mira, or one of our other friendly faces are happy to schedule a call or reply to your email. Finally, if you like this video, please like and subscribe so that we can continue making adventure travel content like this one. We really appreciate the support. This is Brendan reporting from Follow Alice and from the entire Tanzania team. Safe travels, everyone.
Yeah, Follow Alice.